Hello everyone and welcome back to week 27 of my Mounjaro experience, shall we say. I'm here in Croatia and I am on the little communal area where we have behind me a sea view, which is lovely. In front of me I have the pool. I thought I would just film this little bit here. I haven't been that good at filming this week. We're actually at the end of the week and it's been an interesting one. I'm going to talk to you about a regret that I have with Mounjaro. And yeah, I'm just going to talk you through a little bit of how the holiday's gone on Mounjaro, the way that it has affected an aspect of the holiday, which you can obviously guess what that aspect is. So let's start with today and work our way back a little bit from there. So today is the last day. We are on Friday. Tomorrow we fly home. And so my Mounjaro has been in my system for a whole week today. I took it about lunchtime last Friday. And the Mounjaro has been very, very strong for me this week. So you can kind of probably guess what my regret is going to be. But yeah, so the Mounjaro has been in my system for a week, and I felt like it's finally wearing off a little bit today. I felt really hungry this morning. We woke up, and today we went for a day out to an island called Kirk. I think that's how you say it. It's spelled Krk, and it's about an hour's drive from here. We're staying in Rijecka, we're near Rijecka. We're about 30-minute drive from the city of Rijecka and a small little, I don't know if you call it a town or what, but about an hour's drive. We didn't have breakfast and I actually felt really hungry and I was getting excited about food, and I said to Pete, today we're going to try some local proper Croatian foods, and I found some things online that I wanted to try. And then we found a restaurant in the Kirk town. So we're on the island of Kirk and then we're in Kirk town. So it's like an oldie worldy town. It's really, really nice. So you found this restaurant, but I kind of lost my appetite again and I wasn't really feeling anything. It was about 1 p.m. by this point. Hadn't eaten and wasn't really feeling like anything that adventurous, and they didn't really have anything that adventurous on the menu. So I went for chicken nuggets and chips. Don't judge me. I would never normally do this on a holiday. It's just Mounjaro really does affect me. And I find that I just don't fancy a lot of different types of food. I kind of just fancy beige food, crunchy food, when the Mounjaro is really strong in my system. And that's not a good thing. But that's what it is for me, unfortunately. It's a downside for me of Mounjaro in that I kind of I don't feel like a lot of different types of foods, healthier foods. I just don't feel like it. Basically, I only ate not even a quarter of the chips and about 3 pieces of chicken, and I was full and I couldn't manage anymore. And I really did try. I kept on trying and that was all I could manage. So it's a bit of a waste of money, waste of food, and I didn't feel good about it. The waitress said, "Oh, was it okay? Did you not like it?" And I said, "Oh, it's fine. I just have a really low appetite." But I felt really bad, and she was like, I can wrap it up for you. You can take it away." But I just thought, I'm not going to eat it now. We're on a day out. So yeah, it's a shame, such a shame. But that is what happened. So we are not going to go out for dinner tonight because it's kind of a waste. It's just a waste. Pete doesn't really care that much, I don't think. I mean, I suggested going out and he said, well, it's a bit of a waste. So we're just going to have some snacks in the room. We've got some good snacks. We've got some good cake, by the way. So let's go to yesterday now. Let's go to a day out to Slovenia. So we're really close here in Rijeka, is very close to Italy and also Slovenia. And Ljubljana, if you don't know, Ljubljana is the capital of Slovenia. And Pete spotted that we could drive there and it was only an hour and a half. So that's what we did yesterday. And that was lovely. I'd really recommend a trip to Ljubljana, or even a short stay, or even doing what we've done, stay in Croatia and then go and explore different places. That's been really, really cool. And yeah, Ljubljana was beautiful, not like a really built up typical city. So the city of Rijecka here is more of a city, not exactly like London, but busier, and bits and pieces of it are nice, bits and pieces not so nice. Ljubljana just feels really, it's very, very much a tourist attraction. Everyone around seemed to be tourists, and really just nice, chillaxed kind of vibes going on there. Loads and loads of lovely arty little shops, boutiques and things, And what did we have to eat? Oh, so the food situation was still not exactly Croatian, well, Slovenian even. I had ribs, like pork, slow cooked ribs with chips, and I actually did manage to eat a reasonable amount of that. I think I've got a picture, so I'll show you. Pete had a burger, really nice, properly nice burger. And that's what we ate yesterday. And I think we had snacks in the evening again, just because it's just pointless to eat out that much when I'm not able to eat that much. So, but yesterday food was great. Oh, and one thing I found out in Slovenia is they had this cake. It seems to be their cake, like their thing. It's kind of my thing, this cake. And I decided that I really wanted to try it. So we found it in a supermarket and bought a fair bit of it back. So I did have quite a lot of that cake, two pieces, maybe 2.5 pieces of this cake last night as part of our snacks. And it's essentially a bit like a cream slice. If you go into a bakery and get a cream slice, but not the icing sugar on the top that you get with a cream slice, but that same pastry, which Pete said is called millefeuille. And then it's almost like a mixture of custard and cream, and then whipped up inside it. Really light, so it doesn't feel really heavy. Hence, I was able to eat a couple of bits yesterday, and we've got more in the fridge. And that was delicious. But then, now I'm going to take you further back in time in this holiday and talk to you about, I don't know if it's a Mounjaro thing or if it's my stomachy thing, my bowels, my bowel disease. I do have bowel disease. If we go back to Pete's birthday, so we landed here on Saturday, and it was Pete's birthday on the Sunday. And so we went out just fairly local to where we are, like a 20-minute drive. It's a really nice little seaside, it's quite a small town, and looked at the fish in the sea and just had a nice walk around and stuff like that. And Pete said, oh, where shall we eat? And he found one nice looking restaurant, but the Mounjaro was really Mounjaroing at that point. And I couldn't see anything on the menu that I particularly fancied. The only thing I could have done was ask for a plate of chips. That is literally all I could have fancied, or maybe some bread and butter. That's literally what I fancied. So then I said I could eat pizza, because I love pizza. Now, I have spoken about pizza before and how sometimes it has affected me, and it's not a constant thing. It's not always a problem. And I didn't think, I guess I just didn't think. And so we went to this pizza place. I've got the pictures. I show you the pizza. The pizza was delicious. We both really enjoyed it. I actually managed to eat a fair amount of it. I think an acceptable amount for a lady. Previous non-Mounjaro me would have finished it for sure. But this was still not a bad go at the pizza. And unfortunately, it all went downhill from there. So I felt excessively full, and the plan was to go and get some nice dessert somewhere. There was a cheesecake and ice cream shop that Pete really fancied going into, but there was just no way I was able to do it. I was absolutely overly stuffed and just started to not feel that great in general. And then as the day went on, it wasn't instant, but I think it was probably quite a few hours later, just felt really uncomfortable. My stomach felt really bloated, like it's got rocks in it. And unfortunately, I felt really quite unwell for not just that night, but the whole next day and into the next day as well. Also, for me, I never get constipated because of the bowel disease, but unfortunately, I seemed to. Oh, I forgot to mention. So, I think part of the problem might have been that I took 2 anti-diarrhea pills the morning that we flew because I was having problems with the opposite side of constipation. So I had run to the loo sort of 4 times at the Airbnb we stayed at. And I thought, no, I need to take these pills to stop me shitting myself. So I did that. And I wonder if that then slowed everything down and kept this pizza in my belly and my system for way longer than it should have been. And so I went through, so because of course, the next day was the day I ate the pizza after those 2 anti-diarrhea pills. And I think that might have been part of the problem. And yeah, not good, really not good. I did not feel well, which is, annoying. Obviously, it's Pete's birthday, wanted him to have a lovely time. And I kind of, overshadowed it a little bit with my problems. So the pizza really did wreck me for a couple of days. It slowly got better, and I did have to then take what's the opposite of anti-diarrhea pills? The ones that make you boo, because I feel like it was just all stuck in me and it wasn't coming out. So I did take some poo pills and then had some relief following that. But yeah, I didn't feel great for a couple of days. Ultimately, I've not been able to eat a lot. Any pictures you see, I've not finished the food, just struggled to finish anything. So really the regret that I have is, did I need to increase that dose after all? I mean, or at this particular time going on holiday, I think that's the issue. If I was at home, it wouldn't matter because I'm not eating out and not doing anything special. But here, obviously, we were going to eat out every day. And the Mounjaro is just that bit too strong for me to be going out for food. So that is a bit of a regret, and I would certainly suggest to anyone else that is on Mounjaro to be cautious as to when you increase your dose. Don't let it coincide with special events, special holidays and birthdays and things like that. It's not conducive to eating, and I think that's life. Like, eating is what we do for all of those things. So that's what I would say. Hello, and I am back. I have landed. I'm here in the UK, back home, and we arrived home last night. I got here about 7 p.m. The journey back was a bit slow, as it always is when you're flying and you have to wait around in airports and stuff like that. But it was all smooth. It was all good. So that's that. I'm home, and the holiday was great. We did loads of stuff. It wasn't quite what I thought it would be because of my own fault. I didn't realise that the place that I booked didn't have its own outdoor space, because when I looked on the pictures, you could see this lovely little pool, and there was only a couple of apartments around the pool, and I thought it was just going to be sort of a couple of apartments, and you could sort of use the space outside your apartment, and that would be like a terrace. And some of the apartments did have terraces, but not ours. And the pool was smaller than I realised, again, just because it was a picture and you can never quite tell. I did go for a swim though, just the once. It was pretty cold. There is a picture of me in the pool to prove it happened, but it was one of those pools. I don't think it's heated, and I was kind of like having to swim in a small circle in there because it was quite small, but still it was beautiful surrounding the pool. You saw me in front of the pool when I just did that last clip. Really lovely view. You can see the sea, and sort of we're sort of up on a hill, so it was very nice area. But I kind of didn't realise that we were a bit out in the sticks, and because it was so hilly, to walk out and go anywhere wasn't really an option. Pete's got a really bad back, so we can't go too hard. So we did, the first day we got there, we did walk down to the sea. It's actually quite a distance, but there was no way we were walking back, especially after a whole day of traveling. And so we got an Uber back up to the apartment that time. And then after that, we tended to have our main meal out and about, and then just had snacks once we got back to the room, because poor Pete was the main driver, the only driver, and he had to do all the driving. We did do a lot of driving about. So there's some things I didn't mention in the last clip, so I'll quickly go over those now. So I'm going to show you the meal that we had the first night when we walked down to, I don't even know what the area is called. It might be called Opatia, but I could be wrong. Yeah, basically in the picture, you'll see some pork and some sort of herb dressing on top, and then I think that's aubergine or something sliced at the side, and also it came with a big plate of chips. I was really hungry at this point, but once I started eating the pork, I just didn't fancy it. And this is the problem with Mounjaro for me, is it really affects the taste. Not that, I don't know if it's affecting the taste of what I'm actually tasting, it's affecting what I fancy. And I think if I was not on Mounjaro, I probably would still say that's not going to be my favourite meal. But I probably would have managed to eat at least the majority of the pork and maybe half the chips. But I just wasn't fancying it. It just was, I was chewing it and trying to force myself to eat it, and it just wasn't doing it for me. So I literally didn't eat one piece. You can see the pork's in pieces. I probably didn't even manage a whole piece of pork. So that was an absolute waste. I felt terrible. I chopped it all up, put it in a napkin, and the meat anyway, not the chips, and ended up dropping the meat down for a cat, for obviously not near the restaurant, when we were walking away to try and find a spot to get an Uber. So that was a real waste, and I felt really bad for that. I felt bad on the restaurant. I also always feel bad for Pete when I end up leaving food. It's kind of, he's going to get that secondhand embarrassment as well. And also just see the waste, you know, it's our money we're spending, and I'm just wasting it by not eating the food. And it's really not a nice feeling. It makes me feel quite icky. I did eat about a quarter of the chips and just a couple of mouthfuls of that pork. So not great. I will show you also what Pete had. He had this crispy chicken, which was like a schnitzel. I should have got that. I think I would have enjoyed that more, but never mind, you live and learn. The next day I said to you, we went to a place and I didn't know what it was called. It's called Lovran. And then the next day, with a really bad belly, we went horse riding, and I was really suffering. Every step I took was a jolt, and my belly felt sore with it. And in the car, every little bump, I felt sore. Everything felt crowded in my stomach. It felt like if you blew up balloons inside you, and just everything got crowded in there. Not just the stomach. It feels like all like the lady bits and everything, all just like cramped and crowded in. And it really was unpleasant. And so we went with that. We went horse riding. I will show you some pictures of the horse riding. The good thing was, once I got on the horse, I don't know if it was an adrenaline thing or what, I don't know. But once I was on the horse, I kind of forgot about my stomach pain, and I just enjoyed the horse riding. And it was only about the last 20 minutes that I started to feel it again. So that was really good. And we was actually on the horse for probably about 2.5 hours, trekking through a really nice countryside. It was a lovely, peaceful ride. You know, when you just feel, I don't know, it was, you would call it a mindful. You just not really thinking too much and just enjoying the moment. It was so good. Poor Pete with his bad back. He's such a good sport. I said to him, you don't have to do it. I really wanted to do it, and he knew that. So he put himself through the torture and did suffer afterwards. So Pete, you're such a good sport. I can't remember what we ate that day after that. We did go down to the beach. We went down to the beach after that. There was a really nice beach that they recommended at the horse riding. We said, oh, we're going to go to the beach. They said, oh, this is a good one. Usually it's really crowded when it's tourist season, but because it's September now, it will be nice and quiet, and that's what we did. So we went down to the beach, and I can't remember what we ate. So it doesn't matter. Obviously, I was still feeling icky and unpleasant at this point. Maybe we didn't. I think we might have just gone home for snacks that night, possibly. And then the following day is when I think I don't know if I took the poo pills that evening. I think I took the poo pills that evening. I did, because I just needed to. I needed what was stuck inside me gone, because it just didn't feel like it was moving, and it was just making me feel horrible. So luckily the next day things moved and I started to feel better. It wasn't an instant cure, but it was much relief. So that was really good. And that was a day that we went to Trieste. I don't think I did mention that in the last clip. So we went to Trieste, which is in Italy. So where we were located, you could get to Italy and Slovenia really, really quickly. The borders were very close. So Pete saw that we could go to Trieste, and that's what we did. It was about an hour, I think, in the car, or a little bit longer. And we had a lovely day in Trieste. I was starting to feel better. And then we went to this restaurant, and I still wasn't fancying. I knew I couldn't have pizza, and I still wasn't necessarily fancying like normal kind of like meat, and I don't know. I wasn't fancying certain foods, so I thought the safest option is to get a burger. And I was expecting, I guess, more of a normal burger. But this was a bit of a fancy homemade burger. And you know when they don't cook it all the way through, like it was pretty pink. I'll show you the pictures. It was pretty pink inside, which I am a little bit funny about anyway. I'm a really fussy eater, so I don't know if I've mentioned that before. It's probably quite relevant how Mounjaro is affecting me. It's actually making me fussier, especially when the Mounjaro is really Mounjaroing. I seem to just fancy beige, crispy foods, which is almost reverting back to how I used to eat in my sort of teens and 20s. I just don't seem to fancy, really good meats and things like that. I don't know why. It's very strange. But so I got this burger, and I've never liked anything. I have my steak well done. Just slag me off in the comments if you want. I know I'm a heathen, but I love a well done ribeye. If it's cooked really well, it's beautiful. Trust me. So this burger was it was pretty pink, and I just had to eat it because I was hungry and I needed to eat something. And I didn't eat it all. I probably left about a quarter of the burger. I think I ate all the chips. I think I did eat all the chips, but they weren't that many, to be fair. And then it was instant. I was sat at the table and I felt really nauseous. And I honestly thought I was going to throw up. I felt that feeling when you have when you have a sickness bug, that really nauseous feeling. And I thought, oh crap. And I thought I think I'm gonna have to throw, even if my body's not going to throw this up, I think I probably have to throw this up because I feel really off. And I went to the loo and I did try to eject it. Absolutely not for calorie reasons, please. I needed the food. I haven't eaten very much, but actually it wasn't coming up. I mean, this is too much information probably, but this is what we're here for, isn't it? All the nitty gritty. So it wasn't actually, sometimes you feel a bit sick from something you've eaten, and you have to eject it, and it comes up like, you needed to eject that. This wasn't the case. It a little bit came up, but it wasn't sort of like coming out like I was really sick. So I thought, no, do you know what? Don't try and throw up if it's not coming up naturally. So that was that. And then we finished, we left the restaurant, and we'd already been there a few hours, and I really wasn't feeling very well. And then, I forgot about this. Then I needed the toilet for the opposite reason. And I really instantly needed to go to the toilet, and I was scared that we were going to have a messy accident. And luckily they were kind enough in a pizzeria near the car. We was heading back to the car. They they just let me, I said, oh, I'm happy to buy something, but they just let me use the toilet, and yeah, let me let me ruin the toilet. That was, yeah, I don't know whether that was all food related to what I'd eaten that day or what, but yeah. Ended the day on not the nicest note, but Trieste was beautiful. We had a lovely time up until that point, or for me at least. I think I told you about Lubijana, but I will make sure that I show you a picture of Pete's dessert. He had this amazing cheesecake, which I'm looking at right now, and I just had a little taste of that. That's when I had the ribs, and that was a good day, food-wise, stomach-wise, everything was good. So that was a really good day. Ljubljana in Slovenia. And yeah, so Kirk Island was our last full day, and that evening we just had snacks in the flat, as I call it. We had snacks in the flat again, and then yesterday we just had a relaxed morning, slept in, just sort of tidied away our things, ready to leave. Sat by the pool for a little bit. I read my book, which was really nice, just enjoyed the sunshine, and travelled back. Food-wise, yesterday I had a yogurt in the morning that I'd bought from the supermarket. Had a yogurt for breakfast, and at the airport the food was very limited, and obviously I'm afraid of bread now, but there really wasn't anything apart from bread rolls and sort of pastry type things. So I got something called a burek. I didn't take a picture of it, but I will show you a picture I get from the internet what a burek is. It's a Croatian food, and I'm not sure if I think it might be dough, so therefore bread, baked with cheese. And it was quite nice. I wouldn't say it rocked my world, and I didn't eat all of it. I probably left a quarter of it, because I was also scared, what if this makes me ill? It didn't. So I am clueless as to what my issue with pizza is. And someone suggested it's a melted cheese, but then I had cheese in the burek, and I've had cheese in other forms and been absolutely fine. So is it to do with the quantity? So pizza obviously is a very big dough base with lots of melted cheese. I don't know what the issue is. Pete has recommended me a lady that deals with food intolerances, who's highly recommended, sorted out an issue for one of Pete's nephews, I think it was. And apparently she's really good at diagnosing your food intolerances. So I might go to her, but part of me feels like if it's the Mounjaro, then what's the point? Like, is it a food intolerance, or is it Mounjaro? Or is it my bowel disease? And I feel like it's too complicated. Is she just going to say, well, you need to stop the Mounjaro first and then see if you still have a problem? I don't know. If anyone has any comments or thoughts on that, please do share. Have you found Mounjaro can make you a bit intolerant to certain foods? I know some people say that they can't eat. I've seen people say they can't eat red meat. Some people say they can't. They just can't handle any really fatty foods on Mounjaro. But yeah, those things seem to be fine for me. I seem to be okay with fattier foods, but pizza is very hit and miss. And it's more miss now than it is hit. And I'm afraid to retry pizza again. I might try a gluten-free option. I was intolerant to bread for a while, back when I had my fake boobies in. After about 15 years of having implants, I started to get a lot of different symptoms, too many to mention here. I was back and forth to the doctor with all sorts of problems, but one of the things that I figured out, because I tried to eat clean for a few days, is that I had a intolerance to wheat. And yeah, when I ate nothing but salads and meat, my stomachy problems and pains and stuff went away. And it's only when I added a pita bread to a meal that the stomachy problems came back, that I figured out that I'd become intolerant to wheat. And then once I had my implants removed, I was suddenly able to eat anything I liked again. So That's weird. Maybe I have something off in my system at the moment, and then I have become intolerant again to wheat. But the thing with that is I seem to be okay with biscuits. I've been eating, I had a half a packet of fake Oreos that I brought with me for sort of the journey, etc. And I've slowly been eating those throughout the week and finished them yesterday. I'm fine with biscuits. So it doesn't seem to be wheat. Anyway, whatever. I think that's enough of the holiday stuff and how Mounjaro was really Mounjaroing. I did take the 3 milligram dose, which is obviously not a real dose. It's not a full dose. It's not a dose you can get a pen for, but I just take that smaller dose from a larger pen. Not recommending you do that, but it works for me. That 3 milligram, I only went up to 3 milligrams the week prior to going away. So this was my second 3 milligram. And as I said earlier, I do regret going up that dose just before my holiday because it really affected what I was able to eat. And I know that as much as he doesn't complain, and I love him for that, I know that it affected Pete as well when it came to the food side of things. So I do regret going up that dose just before my holiday. And I also think that the fact that I only had, I think, 4 or 5 days between doses because of the way I tried to time it for the holiday. So I'd taken the 3 and then only 4 or 5 days later, I took another 3. And that would have also added to the fact that the Mounjaro was really strong in my system. So lesson learned there. I need to plan for my holidays much more carefully. And it's better to have less Mounjaro in my system than it is to have too much, because I can always lose that weight once I get home, if I gain any, that is. So anywho, that's the dose. Did I lose weight this week? I was expecting a weight loss because I hardly ate anything. Everything, all the pictures you see, I didn't eat that much of the food. And apart from that, just had rice crackers for dinner and things like, a few snacks, but not much. And a bit of cake. Just, once. And 2 ice creams. Did have a pistachio ice cream at Kirk, which was really nice. I have it in a pot rather than on the cone. That's what I've always typically done anyway. But especially now thinking that maybe I have an issue with wheat and stuff. So, and then another day I had I think it was like a cookies and cream type ice cream. And that was one of the days when I was having stomach problems. So I only ate about half of the ice cream and Pete got the rest, lucky Pete. So I expected to lose weight because I have really not eaten very much. And I'm surprised to say that this morning when I weighed, I've actually put on 0.2 of a pound. So I am 136.6 pounds. Last week I was 136.4. I suspect that might be water retention from the flight, but I'm not going to overthink it at all. I know for a fact I ate very, very, very minimally, not enough. And so I am not for 1 second concerned that I haven't lost weight. My goal was to ideally not gain weight, and 0.2 pounds is nothing. So yeah, absolutely not bothered about that. And the way I feel is that because I ate so little, that I need to nourish my body. So I'm delaying my next shot. So it's been like I took my dose on Friday before flying out on the Saturday, and it's now Sunday. So it's been a week and a couple of days since my dose, and I have a birthday this week. So on Wednesday is my birthday, and I'm seeing Pete and his son. I think we're just going to get a takeaway. I'm working during the day. I've got a course. So I'll just a short day for me because it's just a course like 9 till 4. And then I'll go to Pete's and we're going to have a takeaway. And then the next day Mummy is over from France, Mummy and her other half, Steve, and she suggested that we book a meal, and my brother and sister-in-law and their little son and Pete as well are going to have a meal on the Thursday. And I want to enjoy those meals. So I've decided to delay my shot because A, I want to enjoy those meals, and two, I need to nourish my body. I need to tell my metabolism, I am not starving you. It's all good. You're going to get filled. You're going to get fuel. And hopefully I haven't done too much damage by having such restricted calories this last week. So I'm not worried about my weight at this point. That is not on the agenda at all. The agenda is fueling my body with good food. Obviously, the takeaway and the meal out might not be perfect. It won't be perfect, obviously, but I'm going to try in this period of not jabbing, I'm going to try to eat nourishing foods, fruit, vegetables, yogurts, dairy, avoid the bread. Yeah, in terms of exercise this week, so looking at my steps app, we did plenty of steps. So we did loads on the Saturday. That was the day that we flew out and then walked down into that village. Not so many the next 2 days, just under 3,000. Then we did 8,500. We did 6,500. We did 10,600 and 7,200, 4,300, and nothing today. Well, not much. So definitely a lot more steps than I do at home. So that is good. Did do a little bit of swimming that day that I swam in the pool, swam in circles, but, probably only like 20 minutes or so. And then I did swim on Friday when we went to Kirk. I swam in the sea and I tried to swim for as long as I could, but Pete was sort of sat on the beach. I'm going to say beach, sat on the concrete. In Croatia, lots of the beaches are either rock or they're concrete sort of steps and things. So Pete was just relaxing on the concrete, bless him. And so I didn't want to stay out too long, but I did probably swim for 20 to 30 minutes. So there's some exercise there. I'm more than happy with the exercise I did on holiday. Yeah, so that is all this week. I think we'll keep it there because it's so long. And I hope that you enjoyed it. Let me know how you're getting on, if you're taking Mounjaro or Wegovy or any of the other options that are out there now. And I will catch you in the next video. Bye.